my browser.
It says live, yeah.
Okay, well, now it looks perfect. Now we look like we are live. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Visiting Broadway. This is week 8, and if it's not week 8, I'm pretending it is.
Okay.
It's Bobby Traversa and the lovely Linda Shell once again. She's sharing the feed to Facebook at the moment.
Yes, I'm going to do that right now.
But today we have a very cool episode, and it kind of piggybacks off of last week's episode. Last week and the week before, honestly, we met with Rory, and then we met with Philip, and it kind of brought this idea of Broadway and the theater community in New York is so much more than just going to Wicked and Book of Mormon. Us people in the community, we do all sorts of fun things to entertain ourselves and to both entertain ourselves, but also find alternate avenues of getting some work. With Rory, we called her a multi-hyphenate because she's written her own shows, she's performed in her own shows, she's produced her own shows, things like that. Philip wrote his own musical that he's doing in this live stream at the end of the month. But today we have a very special guest who has worked adjacent to the theater community. She's a stand-up comedian, and not only that, she has produced theatrical works. She has created and done some fantastic things at a lot of those same venues. So it's all kind of this like world that is coming together. So that's our theme today, is some of those other things on the outside, up and down the theater district. All you have to do is move a block either way from Broadway, and you can start not only discovering the actual Broadway theaters, but some of these cool other things, especially these comedy clubs that are all over Times Square. So Linda, did you get it shared or not yet? Still working on it?
I did.
Yay! Fantastic. Now, Linda, you've done a lot of this tangential stuff as well, right?
Yes, I have. I've been doing like dinner theater, interactive dinner theater shows for many, many years. And then I went to audition for Nancy, and she cast me in this amazing, fun role.
Which we've clips of, which I'm excited. Have you ever done stand-up though, Linda?
I don't have the nerve. I don't have the
okay.
beat.
I've never done stand-up. I'd be frightened. Like, I don't know what I would say.
I can stand up and talk to anybody. And, sometimes I'm funny. I get lucky and I'm funny. Mm-hmm. And I can get up and sing anywhere, anytime. But stand up for me, I have yet to have the bees to do that. Can I say balls? I don't have the balls.
Say balls. Come on.
I don't have the balls.
You don't got the balls. Yeah, stand-up comedy scares me. I think that I have the ability to be a funny person like you, Linda. Right. And I do a lot of musical theater comedy, but it's not the same thing. I think it's a very special skill set. And we actually know a lot of people who have done it successfully and maybe not so successfully over the years. I know at the tour company, we have a lot of actors, and many of them come from musical theater backgrounds, but we've had some fantastic stand-up comedians who've worked with us. People like Kevin Hurley, who I know we both adore. He's very good at stand-up. Remy Germanario, I know you're obsessed with his stand-up and his characters. Philip Jeremick, I love. He does stand up as a boy, but he also does stand up in drag.
I saw a little taste of his. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I have had the chance not only to work with Nancy Levine with her Laugh Out Loud productions and the interactive shows. Also went to see her do stand up, and I'm just in awe of anybody who can do that. So.
Well, why don't we play a little bit of a clip of her doing stand-up, and then let's bring her on in, okay? So let me pull up her stand-up, and this is from the Duplex, which is a fantastic cabaret space down in the Village. So here we go.
All over the city, give it up for Nancy Levine.
How the hell is everyone? Okay. So, we have any married people out here tonight? Woo! very long time. And I'm going through the change, which means I sweat a lot at night. The other night, my husband came into bed, touched me, said ew, and asked me if I peed myself. That's when you know the romance is over. I have sex so seldomly that I go to my gynecologist for foreplay. Hello, Dr. Rosenthal. It's Nancy Levine. I'd like to make an appointment for my annual checkup. Well, yes, I know it's been 2 weeks, but you can never be too careful.
All right. So let's bring her on in because we could just keep watching that. So I'm going to ask her to start her video here. She's hilarious. Oh my goodness. And Nancy will be joining us.
Here she is. Where is she?
Moment.
Yay!
Yay! Hi, welcome.
Hi.
I'm laughing so much, really crying, laughing.
It was nice to see you laughing in the corner over there, Linda.
It's for real laughing. I wasn't just being polite. It was like for real laughing. That is some funny stuff.
Thank you.
So Nancy, you are a jack of many trades, but you are a stand-up comedian in New York, which is awesome. You work, and you're a female stand-up comedian in New York, which I think is a big feat because there's a lot of stigma, I think, in the industry about female stand-up comedians. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So to do that and to be successful at it, I think, despite the adversity, because really, there's no point, to say men can't be better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is awesome. Like, because I know that there is a stigma in the industry. So that's awesome to be able to rise above that.
Well, when you say stigma, meaning that women aren't as funny as men?
Yeah, a lot of jerks think that.
That's the perception.
I thought that was the perception back in the 80s. I don't think that is the perception so much anymore.
Well, that's good to hear.
In fact, I think that on any given night, when I see stand-up comics performing, the women blow the guys away.
Oh, that's good. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So there you go.
There we go. You, like I said, jack of many trades. What got you into stand-up comedy?
Well, I started, believe it or not, back in the 80s when I was 5. Just kidding. Back in the 80s. As in between acting gigs, I went to Mason Gross School of the Arts for acting. Real great major. Anyway, so I used to perform in the city at like Pips and this place called Tryouts in Mamaroneck and the China Chalet and the Village Gate in the Village. It was just an outlet for me to really, perform. I loved it. It was great. And then I gave it up for many years. And then I just went back to it 6 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Now,
I wanted to say, if it looks like I'm not listening, I'm just checking messages.
Oh,
not my personal messages for us now. See who's there,
cool.
and so that I can, if anybody has any questions, anybody out there in Facebook land or watching through our webpage, if you want to say hi, let us know you're here. If you have any questions, ask them. Anything from me or Bobby or Nancy, especially. That's what makes this live event more fun. And actually, in full disclosure, right now I'm sending a message to my daughter to come and get the cat, who is locked in the room right now and trying to get out.
Oh my goodness.
Linda, I thought that you were actually making dinner reservations.
Because that's what we make for dinner. We won't go there.
I wasn't even thinking that, but okay, yeah, you're right.
That's an old joke. That's an old joke from the Catskills.
That's an old one. Dim.
But okay, so you got back into it 6 years ago, but you haven't just been doing stand-up, right? You have been.
No.
What tell everyone what all you do right now. I mean, not during coronavirus, but before the lockdown.
Yeah. Because if I told you what I'm doing during coronavirus, everybody would snooze.
I think that's the case for pretty much all of us.
Oh my God, I am so friggin' bored. But what have I been doing? Producing different shows, stand-up comedy nights, also doing a little bit of acting. I have a manager now for about a year, but you reach a certain age and they just send you out on like hair dye commercials and, like cemetery plot things. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but that's going to be the next.
But that's real. Like, I mean,
cancer ads. It's like, oh, yay, another one. Yeah. It's like I'm the face of mesothelioma, whatever that's called.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just kidding.
It could be so much worse. Could be much worse.
Looks like we have a guest who's joined us, a Geo. So Geo, we're going to ask that you keep your camera and your audio off. However, we do have an interactive chat box, and feel free to type there. The three of us should be able to look at that and answer any questions that you may have as we go along. So thank you for joining us.
Hi, Geo.
Hey, Geo.
That's amazing. So yeah, coronavirus has been absolutely crazy. I don't know if any of us remember what our lives were like before coronavirus.
I know.
Go into 3 months. But I know that New York is starting to open up a little bit. We'll see how much that happens. I do know, places, and I imagine this is true for the comedy, the comedy circuit as well, are eager to get back in, not only to start making some money, but, I know for people like me and Linda, who come from more the music or theater persuasion, or at least I do, she's a singer, it's hard not to do that, when you're used to being in front of people and even just the energy of putting on a little show, even a store guides, when you don't have that feedback from people and you're used to it gets tough. It gets tough being in quarantine.
Yeah, I've been doing these virtual Zoom comedy shows and it's just not the same. It's very hard. I have a show called Apocalypse Comedy Pajama Party, which is on Apocalypse Comedy Now every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on Facebook Live.
Oh, wow.
And it's just really hard to do stand-up virtually because like you were saying, like you don't have any reaction. So you have to hold for the imaginary laugh.
That you hope is going to happen, but you don't know.
You just don't know.
One thing I noticed when I was watching your stand-up just now, and I remember this when I saw you in the club, is that you're really good at that. Like you had a big laugh there and you were just really good at kind of going with the rhythm of the laugh before you got to the next thing. And yeah, without a live audience, that's
very difficult. Yeah.
Now, do you find it, this is actually something I would be fascinated to hear. Do you find, as a stand-up comedian, do you find that a lot of the material that you come up with in your head when you're working on it does end up landing? Or do you feel that sometimes you do have to go through a trial phase in front of audiences to really feel what's going to work or not in your act? Because I know some of the really big comedians have to do that. What you see when they're on HBO or whatever has been tried and true so much before it gets to that point.
Yeah. Not to brag or anything, but it usually does work pretty well. It's like, back in the beginning, everybody sucks, like the first year. But now I'm into a groove. And the hardest thing is just becoming so comfortable with the material. In other words, you have to have it memorized so well that you don't feel like you're doing a script. And that's, I think, is the hardest thing. as well as dealing with hecklers if they're drunk or, whatever. But I don't normally get too many of those anyway. So
Well, that's
I haven't had any
I
in
don't-
the past 3
I don't
months.
think they would dare heckle you.
oh, knock on wood, none in 3 months. That's I think the scariest thing that anytime I've been like, oh, maybe I should try this, is the fact that it's a live experience and people respond. And if you're not so versed at it and you're not prepared to answer back to that, you know what I mean? If you get a heckler, you have to deal with the heckler, because if you don't, then it just falls dead. So you have to be able to do that, but then also continue your act, right? Like,
Yeah, and sometimes hecklers actually give you jewels,
Right.
Like you just use it and, it's great.
right.
What I love is when I'm on stage, when I discover something spontaneously, like an ad lib, and that gets more of a laugh than the actual material. So that's always fun
Right.
too.
Right. Well, that's amazing. So you and Linda have a working relationship with each other, right?
Yeah, but we also became friends too.
No, of course. Of course. You guys are legitimately friends. But you have worked together professionally. Linda, do you wanna chime in and tell us how you met Nancy?
Well, I think I answered an ad for in
Yeah.
Playbill for this interactive dinner
Backstage.
theater. Was it backstage? Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually it's funny because I auditioned. I thought I killed it and I never heard from her. Do you remember that, Nancy? Right. And I was like, oh, okay, well, okay. And then like sometime later, it might have even been a year.
I think it may have been a year.
Yeah, and I heard from you, and I remember you said to me, I don't know why I didn't cast you before. You were so great, but will you join us now? It was something like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm an entertainer. I have no pride. I'm in. and then she gave me this amazing role of being it was Ira and Isabella's Jewish Italian wedding. Right. I want to make sure I said it correct.
Yeah, that's right.
And so I was the Jewish mother from hell. And I actually wore a fat suit for the performances, which was really fun because then I didn't have to suck in my real fat when I was walking around in my dress.
Right, yeah.
I mean fat. It was really great. It was fun to do the show and then come out afterward to meet and greet in my regular body. No, it was the most fun. And Nancy just gave me these amazing, tour de force, numbers and moments. And it was amazing. And we had Rory, who was with us a couple of weeks ago. Was it last week? 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks.
I met her doing that. And she was actually the reason that I became a tour guide and met Bobby. I always tell Rory, you were sort of like the little link for me and all of the things that have happened in my life in the last 5 years. There was we had a lot of really, Nancy's good at finding the talent and casting them correctly because she, and I remember the role that I played, Nancy would have played perfectly and you did end up playing it. But I remember thinking, what do you need me for? You can do this in spades. And she was like, well, because I'm behind the scenes, I'm producing, I'm directing, and I'm doing all this. And, they say 95% of directing is casting. And so.
Yeah.
Nancy
the cast was always really good.
Really spot on and amazing.
So
we had so much fun.
We have a clip. Yeah. We have a couple clips. Is there any clip that you would like me to play, Linda? I mean, they all feature you. So 2 of them are smaller, but one of them is a big musical number.
Do the It's Raining Men.
Okay.
She's
the director. Let me pull it up. This is fantastic. And it also features Rory as well, our guest from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So she's in the background here. But this can give viewers a little bit of an idea of what this show is you guys are talking about that you met each other doing, which is exciting. So I'm going to play this, right?
Nice.
You wanna dance, then you just get up and dance. If you know the words to this song, well then sing along.
Here's Rory in black.
For all the ladies who understand the heart and soul in this song.
I love the scooching of the dress.
Jeez. Yeah, because
Your
now this
fat
number
suit was
comes at the
slipping.
end. This number comes at the end of the show. I'm disheveled.
Look at the guy on this chair.
I know, he was so fun. But yes, so I started out put together well. We don't hear anything. There's Rory.
Great wigs too.
It's raining. Hallelujah, it's raining. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna let myself get absolutely soaking wet.
All right, I think we get the idea there. Let me turn
Yeah,
it
the
off.
idea.
Fantastic.
Bunch of
Linda,
wild women
singing
dancing
it.
around, wild men and women. Which is it's a nice transition for what I want to ask Nancy about and what I want to get to, because first of all, like when we're doing the tours in New York, the guided visits into the Times Square district, the Broadway district, the focus is so much on Broadway and Broadway shows and musicals and theaters and legends. But I think a lot of people visiting New York, they don't, when they go to that theater district, they're not always aware of some of the great comedy clubs that, you can go to a comedy show before a theater, before or after a theater, and they're all over the place and they're plentiful. And I know in Times Square, they have the barkers.
Barkers,
the people
yeah.
that are selling tickets. Some of them are actually legit.
Some, not so much.
Yeah, I know some of you gotta watch out for those. But so Nancy, I just wanted to ask you first, before we go on to the dinner theater topic of dinner theater, what are some of the clubs that you would recommend if somebody is visiting New York City, because things will open again? I have read an article today that we're in phase 4 of pretending that coronavirus doesn't exist.
No, New York
So
City is
that's
phase
good.
1. Oh,
Right,
you're
but-
in phase 4?
No, but it's phase 4 of pretending the coronavirus doesn't
I said
exist.
we're
Oh,
all,
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
no.
Yeah.
So, but it is going to open up again. Things are opening up. And what are some of the good comedy clubs that you would recommend in the Broadway theater district for people to like check out? And
Sure. Caroline's is a really great club. Very, very classy, very clean, beautiful stage, big stage. I think it holds about 200 people. And it's on like 50th Street. It's by where the Winter Garden used to be. And
I can see it.
Broadway.
It's near that Sparrow.
yeah, it's on the east side of the street, heading
I never know
uptown.
that stuff. East side, west side of the street. I don't know that stuff.
Right, I think there's a Dwayne Reed across the street.
Isn't there a Dwayne Reed across the street from everything in Manhattan? Seriously.
There is.
You know what it's next to? It's next to a place that serves cheesecake. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, Juniors! It's their new
It's by
location.
Juniors.
New location for juniors?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're still the original. I mean, not the Brooklyn one, but the one over by Schubert Alley. But they opened one in Times Square now, and it's
Oh.
Yeah.
right there next to Caroline's. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now that's a more upscale, like a
Mhm.
fancy date night comedy club thing. What would be like if I'm out with the girls and I want to get dirty?
I'd say the Broadway Comedy Club. That's right in the theater district, and that's on. I think it's on 53rd Street.
Like between 8th and 9th, around
Yes,
there?
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think.
Cool.
Yes.
I have been there. I haven't been to that Fancy Caroline's, but I have been to the other one.
Yeah, I would
Broadway.
definitely recommend it.
Yeah. So, okay, well, we'll talk more about some of your favorite haunts in the theater district, but let's get to talking about what you've been doing, what you've been working on. There was a show that I remember I had already been in Paris, and you had asked me, you had said to me, oh, if you were in New York, I would love to get you involved in the Housewives show.
Mm-hmm.
And so you started this wonderful show, and I went to see it, Housewives of Secaucus.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was great. Wonderful cast of women, very talented, very funny, super fun show. But you've made some changes to it.
A lot of changes. The show was my idea about 5 or 6 years ago, but it was I got a playwright to write it for me. So it was originally written in 2016. And it was very much like, the Brooklyn, whatever, that show that used to be on, I forgot the name of it.
Jersey Shore?
Jersey Shore. The characters were more like that. And I played Anita Martini, who was an alcoholic, which scary came to me very easily to play a drunk. But we won't get into that.
I need a martini.
Anyway.
How come I'm the only one drinking, by the way? I just noticed I'm the only one drinking.
Yeah, I have a glass of water. Well, you don't know, it might be vodka. But anyway.
Yeah, mine's vodka too.
So that was a lot of fun. But then fast forward to 2019, the end of 2018, Anthony Wilkinson, I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a playwright that wrote My Big Gay Italian Wedding, My Big Gay Midlife Crisis, a lot of different plays. He's very successful. He's had them at the St. Luke's Theater on Restaurant Row. They made a movie out of one of his plays in Italy. I met him and he saw the show and he loved the actors, but he hated the script. And he's like, and I'm like, well, can you rewrite it for me? And he said, yes. I had to take him to dinner and get him drunk, but he did say yes. So he rewrote the play. And then I was like really the lead in it, and he made Anita Martini the lead. But I always thought that it would be so much funnier if it was done in drag. So I called my friend this past October and I said, what do you think about me doing no, she brought it up. She said, Nancy, I love the play, but maybe you want to try it in drag. And I was like, I've always thought of that. So long story short, we started doing it in drag. I had auditions, yada, yada. And the first show was done in drag at the Triad Theater on January 22nd, before the pandemic. And then the last show was done, we squeezed in like March 17th or March 15th. Like everybody was like very paranoid by that point. I think the next day the city closed. We were that close.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and now of course we're on hiatus.
Right. Well, I do have a trailer, I think, from that production. It looks like it was filmed at the Triad. Do we want to show
Yes, it was.
that?
Yes, that'll be great.
Okay, let me pull it up. So this is from Real Housewives, What a Drag. So this is the drag version.
But it's not real. You have to be careful because I could get sued. It's just the Housewives of Secaucus. No,
it's the Housewives. My apologies.
Yeah.
It's the Housewives of Secaucus. Let me go ahead and share this. There we go.
Freeze frame!
having a good time. Obviously.
Yes!
I have a little confession to make. I just kissed a girl. And I liked it.
And the winner is
Absolutely fantastic.
Melissa Rodriguez.
When they brought me on stage.
Claire, take a picture.
That was a fix. Everyone says Melissa Rodriguez. Oh my God! Yes, we're gonna take Secaucus to another level.
Yes, ladies, yes.
Come to Secaucus.
Who doesn't love Secaucus?
And we're taking over the state of New Jersey, one township at a time.
The whole thing, the characters were nice.
Betsy Thatchy,
Anita Martini.
Brenda Nucci, Paula Cavatelli, and Donatella Diamante. You're like the sister I never had. Come here. Mwah, mwah. Such class she has, doesn't she? Oh, God! Oh, shit! Oh, shit!
What was your favorite part of the show?
You're a real tough cookie with a long history of breaking little hearts like the one in me. Let's see how you do it. Put up your dukes, let's get down to it.
The shit that goes on behind closed doors. Girl!
With your best shot.
I'm running for mayor.
Not get me drunk, Bessie, because I swear I'll say something today.
Isn't this hat absolutely fabulous?
Who designed your hats?
Oh, Tori did mine.
Birch?
No, Tori Cusimano from Hoboken.
None of us are perfect, but some of these bitches make a big deal out of nonsense.
How dare you say
This
that?
woman needs to be removed. She's insane.
Bitch!
With your best shot. We built this city.
Cheers to being nuts and not giving up.
I loved all of it.
I'm speechless.
That's the first. We made the impossible possible.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I wish I was gonna go see it tonight.
The best
Bobby,
part
how
is
much
the
would it? How much
character.
fun would it be, Bobby, to you and me go there tonight and see that together?
We need to go to a happy hour first, but
Bring it to Vegas.
it would.
I'd love to.
No, but the shows like that, Menopause, the musical, is still running here, and I feel like this is funnier than that. You know what I mean?
Where is it running, Menopause?
I want to say Bally's, but I could be wrong. That's where I see all of the posters for it. But I feel like it used to be at the Luxor once upon a time. I could be wrong. I think it's bumped around a little bit. But
Okay.
Menopause is still running out here. There are a couple little. I'm surprised coming from New York and seeing some of this stuff that was big off Broadway and things like that has found a home out here. So Vegas, I think, would be perfect for something like that.
Yeah.
I really.
Now, I want to say, because we have like 10 minutes ish, and first of all, just Nancy, like brava, because that show is great. It looks great. I didn't see the drag version. I saw the girly version. So this is so fun. So I just want to say congratulations on a really great accomplishment.
Thank you.
And it's like, okay, so we're on lockdown still, but it's going to come back. Things are coming back. You got this ready to go. And, I'm looking forward to hearing like what happens with it. And seeing you take it, further and further. I also want to put out there to this room, Geo, and also anybody on Facebook, if you have any comments, or especially if you have any questions for Nancy about life in New York City, in the theater district, being a stand-up, being a producer, being a performer. If you have any questions about any of that, about her shows, please chime in now, because this is the time. And I also know you have some other things I want to make sure that we mention. You have a podcast that you're doing, yeah?
That's right. Yeah, it's called Hot Flash the Podcast.
So what is Hot Flash the Podcast?
It's me and my partner, Robin Lakin. She's my producing partner. We're the hosts, and we bring on a little bit like you, like different people in entertainment, stand-up comics, directors, producers, and we even brought on a doctor once, but it's usually entertainment, and it's just a lot of fun. We do it twice a month out of this studio in New York City called Gotham Podcast Studio. They're under quarantine right now as well, but they're opening up next week.
Oh, wow.
And it's been a lot of fun, yeah.
So, we can put links in the chat here, but also if you, afterward, just send us like all the links for all your stuff, like in one email, and then we can stick it on YouTube under the video.
Oh, okay.
But Hot Flash, I'm sure it's available. Is it, on Apple, on...
Yeah, it's on all of those.
Stitcher, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on all of those, yeah.
That's great. So Hot Flash, the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, you can find that where you listen to your podcast. It's so crazy. I remember when podcasts first started years ago, and I feel like they've had such a resurgence and renaissance in the last couple of years, and I think it's really cool. And I think during quarantine, it's also been interesting for a lot of people to discover new podcasts that they hadn't quite had yet. I don't know if you've noticed that with Hot Flash. Maybe you've been getting some more downloads and things over the last couple months of older episodes.
No, I haven't really noticed. I haven't looked into that yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like everybody and their brother is doing a podcast.
Right.
I wish there were less of them, but that's how it
Well,
goes.
I listened to yours, the one with the guy from The Place, and it was good.
the guy from The Place, the guy. I know a guy.
The guy who grew up in my old neighborhood in Brooklyn, the club owner.
Okay, Al. Yeah.
Al from, what was that club?
Broadway Comedy Club.
From Broadway Comedy Club, where I used to go all the time. I mean, I did. I went there a lot when I was in Manhattan. So I listened to that podcast, and it was really great. And I think that, the great thing about the podcast is you do it live. Maybe there's two people listening, but then it lives forever. People can keep however you call it.
I know. Whatever you call it.
Right. But it lives forever, and people can check it out. And, that's a guy, like an authentic New York City comedy guy that has he has a lot to say, and it's real and it's authentic. He's old school, like me. Not you though, because you just had a birthday. You turned what, 25, 29?
Oh God. If I just turned 29, I would look like shit.
I know, it's good to tell people that we're older.
I know.
Like, I just turned 74. I know, I look great, right?
You look amazing, Linda.
I look great for 74. It's unbelievable. So, Bobby, do you have some questions? You have our stock questions.
Well,
that we always ask for our tour guide.
Right. Well, the one that I wanted to get out of the way first, we had talked about in our we've said this before, our pre-brief phone calls. A lot of tourists who come, especially on our tours, are just completely I would say violated, but that seems more aggressive than it actually is. But they're bombarded by those barkers in Times Square. Come to a comedy show, and we get a lot of genuine asking on tours, I do want to see a comedy show, but what's the best way to go about it? Should I just buy tickets from these people on the street? Like, do you have advice as somebody who works in the industry? If a tourist from out of town, they don't know, but they want to see comedy, they want to make sure it's good. Obviously, they're probably not going to pay the big bucks to see somebody huge, at a big thing. They would know to do that, but they want to see a New York comedian. It's not going to be disappointing. How should they go about that?
I think sometimes they might sell tickets at TKTS, so that's legit. But I would avoid the Barkers because you just don't know whether or not it's real.
I just want to say one thing about that.
Yeah.
There's a woman, she's a Barker, and her name is Dana. If you're in Times Square and you're looking to see a comedy show, find Dana. She's always right near the statue of George M. Cohan. All those other people, I don't know. But anyway, continue.
Thanks for the tip, Linda.
Dana's got integrity. That's all I'm saying.
You could just go right to the club and get a ticket. That's the easiest.
So it's more like just, places like the Broadway Comedy Club are probably good. Caroline's obviously, and that's where you're going to see a lot of people on both sides of the spectrum. A place like Caroline's, you're going to see people from SNL, people like that. They get regularly, right?
Definitely.
So just go to a reputable club and go to the box office then, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, that's the best way.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. So then, and I know when a lot of guests go to comedy clubs, you have to buy a couple drinks and things like that. But they can get pricey if you have to do the 2-drink minimum. Do you have any favorite haunts of places to go before the show to maybe get a better deal on getting a nice buzz before the comedy show starts?
Well, it's not like it's a great deal, but one of my favorite haunts is Sardi's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just so much fun. You go upstairs, you hang out at the bar, and most of the people that come are real theater people. So you get to eavesdrop on conversations, and it's just so much fun. It feels like old New York.
Now, when you go, anytime I go up there, I always, and this might just be really dumb, I always order an old fashioned. I feel like that's what you do at Sardi's, is you order an old fashioned. I don't even love an old fashioned, but it just feels like the thing to do, because I've sat there and I've eavesdropped on people who are like, oh, I produced, cabaret in the 60s. And I've seen Angela Lansbury walk in and she's just there chilling with her people.
Yeah. Incredible, right?
It's old Broadway. And you're just, yeah.
I think it's important that you're saying this about Sardi's, because you know what? I think a lot of people who come from out of town, they come to New York. New York is an intimidating city, even for locals. And so out of towners come in and they literally will say, can anybody go in there? And they're afraid. And I just want to say, you know what? When you're in New York, if Sardi's is open, go in there. It's not just for New Yorkers. It's not just for theater people. It's open. Yeah. Go experience it. That's, don't be scared. Just walk in, and your money is better than anybody else's.
And sit at that bar.
Don't take anyone's money.
You got to sit at that bar. You can eat.
Right.
So much fun.
Yes. Sit at the bar.
I'm drinking Cosmos myself.
Yes.
Oh, Cosmos is a good one too. I hate an old fashioned. It just feels like what I have.
What's in that?
Oh, I feel like it's whiskey and
bitters.
Something. I don't know. There bitters and there's a cherry in it, but it's not a sweet drink. It's I'm drinking an old fashioned.
Why would you torture yourself?
So yeah, but if you look cool, that's all that matters. But listen, you, Nancy and Bobby, it's actually time to go. And you know that old show business adage, always leave them wanting more. So I'm going to assume that right now everybody wants more, and we're going to go.
Okay.
So Nancy, send us the links. We'll put them up on the YouTube thing under the video so that when we restream and everybody, checks it out, they'll see your stuff. Thank you so much for being here. It was fun seeing you. And
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
And Housewives of Drag is supposed to come back in the fall, right?
Housewives of Secaucus.
What a
yeah,
drag.
I was going to let him slide on that one, but you know, whatever. Thank you for correcting him.
I just like to say Secaucus.
It's supposed to be at an off-Broadway theater in the fall. I'm not going to say the name of it, you know, just in case.
Right.
I don't want to jinx anything, but yeah, it's supposed to come in the fall.
So keep your eyes open. Look at Broadway World Playbill. I'm sure there'll be a press release out.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Nancy. And I just want to say thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. I want to.
Okay.
Bye.
See ya. Bye-bye. See ya.
So, and I just want to say also, I want to say a shout out to the community. It's Pride Month. And there was some groundbreaking legislature that was passed today, which was a little surprising because it didn't seem like it was going in that direction, but it did. And so, you know, it's all a step in the right direction for anti-discrimination and gay rights. And, you know, and so keep it going. Let's all talk about it. Let's be on the right side of history. And also want to just say, just to get it out there, Bobby, I'm going to say it again. Black Lives Matter.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's all.
Black Lives Matter. Absolutely.
Have a great day, everyone. And congratulations to all our LGBTQ plus brothers and sisters. You now legally can't get fired in all 50 states for being gay. So thank you, Supreme Court. Have a great day, everybody.